Here are 20 common maintenance items that most homeowners forget, even me sometimes. Let's begin. Do you have a refrigerator that seems to run a lot or just doesn't cool very well? Let me show you an easy way that can fix that. Now let's first remove away this bottom cover underneath the refrigerator. And if you look real close, you can see the coils that are currently underneath the refrigerator. I just recently cleaned these, but in a lot of cases, these right here will be so caked in dust, you can't even hardly see them. And this is what helps the refrigerator stay cool. So we need to get these cleaned out. And to clean up those coils, I strongly suggest getting your vacuum and sucking up as much of that dust as possible. Then get like a small air compressor and you want to blow out as much of that dust as possible. I've even used a leaf blower or something along those lines that you can really blow a bunch of air up in there. But just be prepared, you're going to create a ton of dust, so close off as many doors as possible and get your vacuum so you can help suck up all that dust and debris that you blow out. Now almost every home has a fan. Now whether you use this or not, it collects dust. We have a tendency to use ours a lot, therefore it collects a lot of dust on the top of our blades. Now if you forget about this, you can easily offset the balance of the fan, or it can just send dust flying in all directions when you turn it on. My wife has a good technique to help clean this. She takes an old pillowcase and she wraps it over each of the blades and takes both hands and carefully pulls off the dust, therefore catching almost all the dust in your bag, and you don't have to worry about it floating around in the air. Now it's very important to know exactly where a hot water heater is in your house, because as water comes into your house, it also brings in little particles of sediment that could easily start to fill up your tank. You don't want that to happen for a couple reasons. One, it won't heat your water efficiently, and two, it could cause this to prematurely fail. Now depending on the system you have, there are a few different ways to drain your tank. Definitely look up your brand and how it requires you to do it, but in my case, I just hook up a hose down here to this drain and I stretch it outside and I open the drain and it flows out that sediment and water and gets that cleaned out for me. Just be careful and check what you have before you do it. Otherwise, make sure you do this on a regular basis. Now, if by chance you have any water filtration going on in your house, for example, I have a whole house filter right behind this pipe here. A little bit hard to see, but it's right here. Now, I have to keep an eye on this on a regular basis. Not only can this start to fill up with sediment and just prevent the house from just having water flow very easily, but if I don't change this on a regular basis, bacteria can start to grow in here and actually get us sick. So if you have any water filtration, whether it's for your whole house or maybe even just for your refrigerator, it's a good idea to change it on a regular basis so you don't get sick from it. Now almost every home has a washer and dryer, but a dryer, if not maintained properly, can be very dangerous. Every time you go to dry something, it's good to take the dryer vent out and remove any dust and lint that has built up in this. But this does not catch everything. On a regular basis, you need to take your vacuum and create kind of like an adapter or funnel, whatever you want to call it, maybe with like a paper towel roll or something that you can get down inside here and vacuum out as much of that dust and debris as possible. Otherwise, there's a good chance over time this will build up a bunch down in there, overheat, and possibly cause a fire. It's also very important to check your hose that comes from your dryer and going to your outside vent. These have a tendency to collect dust as well, and if you don't clean these out, these can also back up into your system and cause a fire as well. So they make little brushes you can go in here. I've even seen a friend take one of their leaf blowers, stick it in, and blew all of it out. So in any case, make sure these stay clean. Now a lot of houses have these bathroom vents. They help get rid of the humidity and condensation really quickly. Now these are great when you're using them in the bathroom, but when you leave the bathroom, make sure you turn this off. I say this because a friend of ours nearly had their house burned down when theirs caught on fire. So a couple things to remember. Don't use these for extended periods of time, and you need to make sure that any kind of lint or any kind of debris that could build up on this cover right here or on the filter, those need to be cleaned on a regular basis as well as the hose that leads to the outside. Now if by chance you have a standalone freezer, every time you open the door, condensation is going to start to build up on the shelves, and that's going to freeze. And the thicker and thicker that builds up, the less efficient your freezer is going to be, and therefore your food is not going to freeze as well as it should. So it's a good idea to defrost your freezer and get rid of all that ice. To do that, I would strongly suggest moving your freezer outdoors if possible, because it's going to create a lot of water on your floor. If for some reason you can't move it, then I strongly suggest putting out a bunch of towels inside and outside to catch as much of that water as possible. Now, if you have any equipment that requires fuel and it's going to sit for several months, let's say through the winter months, it's a good idea to make sure the last bit of fuel you put in it has some fuel stabilizer in it. This allows the fuel to stay good for a long period of time and not to start to clog up your fuel system. So anytime you're going to store equipment, make sure you put some fuel stabilizer in it. Now, it's very important to clean out your gutters to make sure that you get rid of all this dirt and debris and leaves that have built up inside it. But a lot of times people sometimes forget to actually clean out the drain. It's a little bit hard to see, but if you can look down in there, you can see this drain is fully clogged. Now, depending on how your drain setup is done, sometimes you can stick a stick down in here or maybe even just stick your hose down here and flush that out. But in any case, we need to make sure this entire drain system is fully cleaned out. Now, we want to make sure that water is going to flow efficiently, because if it doesn't, it can easily back up and start to cause roof rot. And once you get done cleaning your gutters, it's a good idea to make sure the water that's flowing out is flowing away from your house foundation, because concrete likes to absorb water. And if you have a basement or a crawl space, there's a good chance if your water's running toward your house that it will slowly seep through that concrete and get in that area and potentially start to mold or just destroy whatever else might be in there. Now, if by chance you have a fireplace that you use on a regular basis, it's a good idea to have it inspected during the off months. It's been inspected primarily for creosote. It's this black, almost tar type-like substance that'll build up in your chimney, and it alone can catch on fire, causing major damage. So make sure you have it inspected. Now, when we're looking into sinks, right here on the end, they usually have what they call an aerator. It's a good practice to every so often take these out and see if it's clogged up by chance. And if you can see right there, there is a bunch of sediment built up in there. So we're going to clean this out, put this back on, and it should flow better. Now, if you have a house with a garage, it's a good habit to get into is to get some silicone spray or some white lithium grease and to go along all of your rollers and your joints and your sliding spots every so often, just to make sure that it is nice and lubed and it moves freely so it doesn't bind up whenever you need it. Also, keep an eye on your springs and your cable set up here. I've had them break and I've had them come loose. In either case, if they're not working properly, you can easily wear out your garage door opener. Now, it's good practice to test your fire alarms on a monthly basis. In some cases, they are battery operated. In some cases, they're powered by the house with just a battery backup. In either case, make sure to check with the manufacturer suggests how often to replace that battery. Also, make sure you check your fire extinguishers. These need to be tested every so many years. Again, check with the manufacturer to make sure you know exactly when that needs to be done. Now, according to the heating and cooling of your house, in my case, I have an HVAC system or a heat pump. In many cases, you may just have an AC system. Whatever it is, you need to make sure that you check the filter on a regular basis. Most places say 90 days. I like to at least glance at it probably once every 1 to 2 months just to look at it and make sure it hasn't clogged up. I say that because I was once at a friend's apartment and they didn't realize they were supposed to change this out. And when I looked at it, it was nearly a 1/4 inch thick of dust built up on it. I was surprised the system was even running. But after I got it nice and changed and cleaned up for them, it ran so much better and they were much happier. So make sure you check your filters. That's a good idea, probably on a monthly basis, to actually wash out the inside of your trash can. It'll help reduce any bacteria buildup and get rid of some of those smells. Also, if you use some baking soda and put that in the bottom of your trash can, it'll help absorb some of those smells and absorb any of those liquids that might fall to the bottom. It is very important to know the condition of your roof because a very small hole can create some major water damage. So make sure to check it on a regular basis, and especially after any major storms. If you happen to have a deck, it's good practice every 1 to 2 years to get out and just completely clean it off, usually with like a pressure washer. And then you want to go back with a nice, good, high quality sealer and seal off the entire unit. That'll help it last a lot longer out in the elements. Now, depending on the type of windows you have, most modern windows have what they call weep holes. These are basically little drains in the corners of the windows. So as rain falls and it hits the window, it will slowly roll down and go out these little holes, making sure to get that water back to the outside of the house. You need to make sure these stay clear, because if you don't, this water can back up inside the window and either rot out the inside of the house or around the window seal. I hope these ideas can make your home ownership even better.